Imagine growing up knowing that millions of random people are watching your everyday life with no consent at all. This is the life of certain children who grew up with an internet-famous household. Today I'm going to be persuading you all on why we should sign a petition to make YouTube create child labor policies for minors and family vloggers. These kids have no distinction of work and life. Due to the nature of family vlog channels, they're being filmed all day, every day, starting before they were even born. I grew up watching family channels like the Shaytards, and it wasn't until I grew up when I realized how corrupt the industry was. First, I will discuss the problem with YouTube and these influencer parents, and then I'll talk about how we could potentially help these children have a healthier and more nurturing upbringing. YouTube isn't doing anything to fix this corrupt situation. As you can see, in YouTube policies, there are no mentions of children who are working on this platform. That being said, they don't tolerate minors being sexually exploited or harmful activities involving minors. Or do they? Daniel Cohn was 12 at the age of posting these videos, and they are still up to date. In 2017, Time magazine stated that, quote, YouTube says that time spent watching family vloggers is up 90% in the past year, end quote. YouTube has come out saying that it's the parents' responsibility to abide by child labor laws in their state, but there's no one enforcing it. Do you really think that the type of parents that would profit off of their children would abide by child labor laws? Barry University law publications say that, quote, YouTube has expressed in its terms of service the site's preference of not having users under the age of 13, end quote. But how does that apply to the children that grow up in this sort of environment? It means nothing. YouTube's lack of certain requirements lead to greedy people wanting easy money and fame. Parents are taking advantage of their children and exploiting them for monetary gain. The Ace Family, arguably the most well-known family channel, is also the most controversial, our main culprit of child exploitation as well as neglect. Affinity magazine stated that the Ace Family had, quote, 18.7 million subscribers with an average of 5.34 million views per video and 3.8 billion total views, end quote. With numbers like that, it's easy to make sense as to why many people would want to make a family channel successful. In this video, we see Jordan Cheyenne use her newly passed dog and crying son to get a good thumbnail in video. Well, this is embarrassing for me. Okay, that's fine, we're just gonna skip it. It's basically just the boy crying and the mother trying to get a good thumbnail while he's actually crying. Okay. Hello? Hello? Sorry, everybody. Okay, where was I? Yeah, so now this video goes on for longer. It's just too painful and cringeworthy to watch. Children did not choose to be brought into this life, and they most definitely had no say in their very public online upbringing. These kids are going to look back on all those fun trips or cool gifts they got and realize that their parents were just doing it for clout and not really for them. Micah and James Stauffer had adopted a 4-year-old boy who with special needs from China, and after heavily plastering him all over the social media, he vanished. And they decided that it was with a heavy heart that they rehomed the child because he was just too much of a challenge and more than they were expecting. This is awful behavior that should not be tolerated on this platform or any kind. And now that we see what an issue this is and how nobody's doing anything, let's talk about how we can help. YouTube should create special policies for influencer parents. Time regulations and percentage of the earnings going into their child's savings could be a great starting point for the protection of these children. YouTube technically has no responsibility for what parents decide to do, but they should care a little bit more because they're supposed to preach a safe environment for minors and on their platform. But YouTube itself has proved to be unreliable, so let's think about a potential alternative solution. We should make the legislative branch redefine the definition of a child actor to include social media. This way, the states wouldn't have to go through the process of curating specific laws because they could use the ones that are already in existence. And this would force influencers' parents to abide by time regulations and potential monetary holds for their children. But not only that, but if these influencers were to break these laws, there would be more repercussions for their actions. And now that we've discussed some solutions, let's take a moment to reflect on all we've discussed this morning. Parents are exploiting and taking advantage of their own children, and YouTube is doing little to nothing about it. We have to either get YouTube to strengthen their policies or go to the legislature to have a minor social media influencers be included in child labor laws. Some children are born with the camera around them 24/7 from birth to puberty to graduation. And these kids have little to no say whether or not they choose to be broadcast to millions of people. Creating some sort of policy or law for these children could prevent years of therapy and healing in the future. These children are forced to put on a show and act every single day, and we need to get the attention of YouTube or someone bigger to place some rules for the safety of these children.